Well, the altcoin market is off to an absolutely fantastic start today, being led upwards by Ethereum, which is currently up over 7.5% just in the last 24 hours, with its price now reaching up to $4,200 for the first time in quite some time. Now, this move from Ethereum has led most altcoins upward anywhere from 5 to 25%. We're looking at 26% gains from Arrow, 18% gains from Tezos, 20.7% gains from ENA, and 5 to 10% gains from the rest. And it has been an absolutely fantastic morning for the altcoin community as this altcoin market has attempted to break out. And so in today's video, I'm going to deep dive into this pump. I'm going to tell you exactly what to be on the lookout for as this attempted breakout is happening. And I'm also going to tell you exactly what you want to avoid doing right now, because many people are going to mess this moment up. When the altcoin market tries to break out, most people mess it up and most people actually end up losing. And so today I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do to avoid that and what to be on the lookout for now. So if you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to smash that like button, and let's go ahead and let's get straight into it. So today's video is going to be focusing on two main charts, okay? Kind of three, mostly two. That's going to be the Ethereum chart, guys, and that's going to be the total two chart. If you don't know what the total two chart is, it is simply just the total market cap of altcoins as a whole. So it's the entire crypto market minus Bitcoin. So the total market cap of altcoins. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to deep dive into both of these charts, and I'm going to show you exactly what's happening, why it's a good thing, and what you need to be careful of. Because again, a lot of people are about to mess this up. So first and foremost, let's start off with ETH, because ETH is absolutely opening this market up to gains. So over the last couple of weeks, what I've told you all pretty consistently with my analysis on Ethereum, I would say at least for the last 9 days or so, is that you need to be watching extremely closely what happens at this golden zone of resistance between $3,700 and $3,800. If you watch my shorts, my Instagram reels, my TikToks, whatever it may be, you know that we have been watching this gold box like a hawk, because I told you, if ETH can get above this gold box, it's going to open up. I think it's going to open up for that move. I think we're going to see ETH push up towards 4,100 bucks. I think it's possible we see ETH push up to $4,300 and start bringing the altcoin market up with it. And so over the last couple of days, we've been watching it closely, and I told you, hey, if it breaks, watch it, and boom, what happened? ETH absolutely sent it through that golden zone and started just chugging on along straight up to our first take profit level around 4,100, currently right in between take profit level number 1 and take profit level number 2. Now, this move from Ethereum is the very reason why the altcoin market is making such a beautiful move right now, because people know how this goes. When ETH pumps, the altcoin market pumps. When we see real quote unquote altcoin seasons, it's oftentimes because ETH brought a ton of liquidity to the altcoin market. And so this move right here is the very cause, in my opinion, for why we're seeing so many cryptos pumping, especially your ETH-based meme coins like Pepe, right? So it's been an absolutely fantastic move that is impacting Total 2 as well. So knowing the move that Ethereum is making, we can then transfer that over to the altcoin market as a whole, and you can see what the altcoin market is doing. You see, the altcoin market also had a golden zone of resistance. And if I go ahead and just delete my gold box, I'll show you what it looked like. You can see here, Fibonacci golden zone, boom, right? So the altcoin market as a whole also had its own golden Fibonacci zone to break, and it did struggle a little bit. Let's zoom in really quickly. You can kind of see here, we spent like 16 hours trying to break out. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 hours it took for us to get through the top side of this resistance, but we ended up doing it, breaking through it, and then making that move upwards. Now, the altcoin market as a whole is lagging behind a little bit. It's not performing as well and as fast as Ethereum is, but that's very normal, right? ETH leads the charge. It sees all the liquidity. People are going to use it. People are going to buy it. People are going to do all these things. They're going to see gas fees go up. It's going to be annoying. And then that liquidity will then flow into the altcoin markets, in which you will typically see something like Pepe start to really gain momentum a little bit later on once ETH slows down a bit, right? And so because of that, right, it is no surprise to see the altcoin market underperforming ETH a little, but it is still performing incredibly well. Now, listen, this doesn't mean that, every altcoin is going to continue to absolutely send, but what it does mean is that the altcoin market clearly is seeing some gains. It's clearly seeing excitement, and it's clearly seeing interest, and that's what we need, right? If we're going to see the altcoin market rally, especially going into Q4, the last 4 or 5 months of the year, what we really need to see is the altcoin market gathering interest from investors, and you need to see that happen very early on in order to start getting that ball rolling, so that by Q4 this thing can really be jumping, if that is what's going to happen. And so this is a fantastic sign that the altcoin market is really garnering that interest that it's going to need in order to truly see some growth. So all in all, whenever we look at this altcoin market, when we look at ETH, when we look at Total 2, this is a fantastic move. It's a great move. And the fact that this move is happening without Bitcoin's price breaking through the descending channel is another fantastic sign that what we are seeing in the altcoin or in the crypto market in a whole is natural liquidity injection and natural liquidity liquidity flow. What we saw was Bitcoin absolutely sending towards the upside earlier this month, in the last 2 months, right? We saw a ton of liquidity injected into Bitcoin. And now we're still seeing that liquidity in the altcoin market flowing its way downwards and downstream into the altcoin market, which it's supposed to do. And this is a great thing. Now, listen, I still do think that Bitcoin, for the most part, is in control of the market. And I think that if Bitcoin just dumps right now, the altcoin market is going to dump. I think if Bitcoin breaks out of this, I think it's going to escalate. It's going to accelerate the way that the altcoin market breaks out. So I still think Bitcoin is still in control, but it is good to see that that liquidity can find its way into the altcoin markets without needing Bitcoin to be breaking out as well, because that's the type of fuel you need to really see these altcoin periods, altcoin seasons, whatever you want to call it. So the first major point of this video is that this is actually a fantastic move. It's a great thing we're seeing. And even if it doesn't last forever, which I'm going to talk about in a second, it is a great sign, a great signal that this altcoin market has a lot of momentum and a lot of opportunity, especially towards the later end of this year, if we do enter into a more, environment, economically friendly environment, right? Especially here in the US. So that's the first point. This is a great thing that we're seeing in the market. Let's move into the next point, which I told you is more like, okay, don't mess this up, right? Because a lot of people are about to mess this up. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing right now in order to not mess this up. Now, before we get into that, guys, do not forget that if you do want to trade any of the altcoins you see here, I mean, basically every single altcoin you see here, you can check out the link to BTCC down below. If you sign up specifically with my link, you're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses and lower trading fees, which is one of the best deals on YouTube. And if you know trading, you know that to be true. So feel free to check out that link down below. You can do futures trading, you can do spot trading, you can do isolated cross margin, everything you can think of on up to 500x leverage. So there's a ton of opportunity there. So feel free to go check it out. Let me know what you think. So let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about this. Let me first and foremost tell you what not to do. And listen, I can't tell you what to do or what not to do, but I'm going to tell you as if I was talking to myself, right? If I was sitting on the other side of this desk and I was just talking to myself, what would I tell myself to or not to do? And in this moment, I would tell myself, listen, do not get caught in the trap. Okay, I would say there's a lot of FOMO out there. We're seeing ETH absolutely rallying. We're seeing every altcoin starting to see some sorts of gains, and it's triggering people to make really big buys. And I think the only big mistake that can be made right now is opening up really big purchases with all of your cash at once, just throwing it all in, or opening up really big leveraged long trades. I think both of those things are not good ideas right now. And listen, the market may just absolutely run, and it might work out, but that doesn't mean that it was a good idea, right? I can buy a lottery ticket and win. It doesn't mean that buying the lottery ticket was a good idea. It just means it worked out, right? And I just believe personally that right now doing big buys or big long trades on the altcoin market is not a good idea. I think the best thing to do is wait. Personally speaking, I think the best thing to do is wait. I think the second best thing to do right now is to start to slowly buy in with like less than 10% of your available capital, and then inject the rest of it when this thing that I expect to happen happens. I'll tell you about that in a second. And in the middle of those two, like the first best and the second best, I would say taking profits right now is actually a really good idea. So I would say if you're in a position, maybe let me restructure this a bit. I think if you're in the position to take profits, so you guys know earlier this year, we started rotating our profit from Bitcoin into altcoins. We started doing this maybe like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I can't remember. It's August. I think this was in like April or May or something like that. You guys don't remember. But what we started to do is we started taking profits off Bitcoin when it was rallying, and then we started rotating those profits into our favorite alts. So like XRP, ETH, XLM, HBAR, SWI, Solana, etc. Right? So we started rotating in there. Now, those rotations that we did, they're all way up, right? They're all up a good bit. So now what we're capable of doing is we can actually go in a moment like this, and we can just start taking profits off the table. I think if you're in a position that you are accumulating ETH at like $2,000 or something like that, right? Taking profit off the table is a very good idea. I'd say that's like absolutely the best thing that you could do right now is just take some profit off the table. It's not a bearish thing. It's simply you're up, enjoy it, take profit. Always the best thing to do. The second best thing right now would just to be to wait. Let this market play out a little bit because of what I'm about to show you in a second. And the third best thing to do is to kind of start buying a little bit now, but don't go too heavy in, because I think that there are going to be opportunities and better opportunities to accumulate after certain things happen. So let me kind of show you what I'm seeing to make all of that make sense. Because once I show you this next part, you'll be like, okay, that's why Tyler said that second and third thing. So let me just show you. Okay. So right now, what we're seeing in the altcoin market is a beautiful run, as you all know, but we are starting to get early signs that this run that we're in can very, very easily slow down sometime soon. Doesn't have to be right now, doesn't have to be tomorrow. Man, we might rally for another week, but we are very overextended, okay? And everything that I'm going to do right now is going to lie on the 4-hour chart, okay? So when we look at ETH on the 4-hour chart, what you can see is that it's already chopping. And sure, it's still climbing, right? The 4-hour RSI is still climbing, but it is starting to chop in a much more aggressive manner than ETH's price. ETH's price is sort of ramping upwards while its RSI is starting to chop sideways. And typically speaking, when that happens, you are getting to a period in which this market is going to cool down. Sometimes those cool downs look like this, right? Where you just go sideways for a little bit, which in my opinion is a much better buying opportunity than whenever you're at the top of this pump. Or sometimes those cool downs look like this, which is when the market will slow down actually, and you'll start to see the price actually falling a little bit. This is usually the first sign of that. And considering the fact that we are currently right under the 80 level, I would say that ETH is starting to get to a point of risk in which it is becoming more likely that it slows down or pulls back than it is that it actually goes up. Okay. When you look at the Bollinger Bands, we have been extended into the top side of the Bollinger Bands for quite some time. We actually got outside of them for a second there. And typically speaking, and usually when that happens again, it doesn't have to be immediate, but it is your signal that we are towards the topper half of this move, right? This isn't like usually just kicking off. You're usually going to see it cool down or pull back. And it doesn't have to be a huge cool down or a huge pullback, but usually just enough to come back towards your moving averages and then try to continue that move upwards, right? So you look at your Bollinger Bands for Ethereum, it is showing very clear signs that we are getting a little bit high right now. If we head over to the liquidation map and you go to Ethereum, what I want to show you is this. Boom, look at this. There are now currently $5.17 billion worth of liquidations for ETH to the downside. In comparison, there's very minimal liquidations above us, less than $1 billion up to $4,300. And so sure, ETH might continue to rally into these liquidation levels and try to liquidate all these people going up towards 4,300, but it is becoming much more likely that as people are getting more and more greedy, that this market does reverse a little bit. ETH does reverse a little bit, cool down, liquidate those people, and then try to continue upwards. I've told you all consistently that I think ETH can easily push towards $5,000 or $6,000. And this might be the move that gets us there. Don't get me wrong. I just know it's not going to be a straight shot. And my primary warning of saying all of this is, listen, don't just assume that ETH's going to go up to straight up to 5 or 6K. Don't just buy big. Don't go all in on ETH right now with huge buys and huge leverage long trades. I don't think that's a good idea. I think if ETH is going to make that rally up to 5 or 6K, it's going to take breaks. It's going to cool down a little bit. It's going to pull back a little bit. It's going to try to flip previous points of resistance into support a little bit. We're going to liquidate those people. The lizard people are going to liquidate, they're going to liquidate as many people as they can. They're going to be licking their eyeballs, seeing all of these freaking long trades to the downside that they can liquidate, right? We're going to see these moments of pullbacks, these moments of opportunity that will then result in upwards movements, in my opinion. Those are going to be the very things that we need. Think about it like a trampoline, right? Imagine ETH is climbing up a little bit of a hill, and at the bottom of the hill there's a big trampoline, and that's the only way that it can get to this next hill. And so what ETH's price has to do is it has to jump off this hill, hit that trampoline, use that trampoline to continue upwards, to gain that momentum needed to make that next move, right? I think that's what's going to happen with ETH, and I think it's going to happen quite a few times. So in my opinion, buying big, going huge on levered long trades right now while we are overextended to the top side is just a dangerous game to play, and I don't think it's needed, because there will be opportunities in which we will see these cool downs and pullbacks. Very similar to this, right? You see how we had this little moment? I'm not saying that ETH's price is going to crash. I'm not saying that at all. But do you see how we had this moment that was a cool down, which allowed for ETH's price to relax a bit? That's what I think is going to happen. And I think we're going to have a couple of those moments. So there's no need to rush right now. Another reason you don't need to rush is, listen, guys, the retail crowd's just not really back yet. If you look at altcoins on Google Trends over the last 2 months or so, roughly, you can see we had that huge rally. Everyone was talking about altcoins back in July of 2025. And then no one's really talking about them. So even though the price is absolutely sitting right now, people are not back yet. And even if we look at something like Ethereum, right? Check this out. Like, yeah, it's rallied back up, but I mean, it's not at all-time highs. People are coming back, but they're not fully back yet. And this means that we still have time. It means that this is still an accumulative period, yes, but you don't need to be rushing. And so all in all, in my opinion, right now, the biggest mistake you could make and the biggest error you can make is jumping in with all of your cash or all of your capital, going all in on all your altcoin positions. I think slow rotations are totally fine. Like if you want to buy a little bit of ETH, a little bit of XRP, a little bit of Solana, that's totally cool. And when that next pullback happens, then you want to deploy even more capital into that red, totally fine. Fantastic plan, especially if you're just rotating profits from Bitcoin, right? If you're just rotating Bitcoin profits back in, that's totally fine. I think that's a great idea. But going all in right now just seems like a very risky move to me, even if the market does go up. Because what could happen here is ETH might rally up to 4,500 and people are going to say, oh, Tyler, you were wrong. You should have went all in. That still doesn't mean it's a good idea, because at the end of the day, we're very overextended, we're very high, and it's getting more and more risky. It's becoming more and more likely that ETH goes down than it goes up every single hour at this point. Okay. So play it very cautiously right now. You still have time. You will still have opportunities to buy your altcoins at good, opportune prices. during corrective periods. Just trust me on this, okay? And so that's kind of where I am with that. I personally am taking a little bit of profits off the table. I don't feel the need to be buying alts very heavily right now or at all, to be honest, because we were rotating into alts back in like April and May and stuff like that, especially while ETH was back down here, right? Like we were doing good accumulations on ETH whenever ETH was in this little accumulative period, right? And so for me, I just don't really see a huge need to be doing big buys up here. But if it does pull back, there may be opportunities for me to rotate in. I'll keep you updated. So the main thing that's happening right now is ETH is doing great. It's leading the market upwards. Let's just let this puppy play out. I think ETH is going to continue to try to pump until it does eventually try to slow down, at which point the market itself will probably slow down a little bit as well. And that's where the moments of opportunity will happen. So let's just see how far up ETH can go, how much it can rally, how much opportunity it can open up, how much upside it can open up. And then we'll go from there with some more updates, especially when it comes to XRP, Solana, Sui, XLM, all of those. Okay. So I'll keep you updated on those, on the shorts and on the reels and on TikTok and all that stuff until then. But for now, the primary focus is what ETH does, because it is now controlling the altcoin market and determining just how far up we're going to be able to see this move go. So I'll keep you all updated as per usual. If you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.